This is the Angels Postcast, your instant game reaction for the Los Angeles Angels. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network. Your team every day.
Hello, Halo Nation. Hello, Halo hopefuls, and welcome back to the latest edition of the Locked On Angels Postcast, coming at you live, as always, after every single Angels game, right here on the Locked On Angels YouTube channel, and after the fact, both on the channel and wherever you get the Locked On Angels podcast feed. If you don't know who I am, what's going on, everybody? My name is Gavin Carlson, former credentialed journalist covering UCLA sports with the Daily Bruin, and now in year 2 with the Locked On Podcast Network, where it is your team every day. Our team is the Angels, and our Angels are back, baby. They are back in dominant fashion. 10-4 victory over the Cleveland Guardians this Saturday night, the first home win of 2025, and they did it in a big way with the fireworks night and everything. What a perfect time to have fireworks at the plate. 4 home runs in this one to help with the 10-4 victory. We're going to jump into the big flies from Rengifo, from Soler, from Ohapi, from Trout. We'll talk about the pitching from Jack Ohanowitz, who gets his first win of 2025. But before we do all of that, first and foremost, you know the drill. Shout out to everybody in here. Almost 100 people in here live. Always love the support. Appreciate it so much. Of course, this is the place to be after every single Angels game. Obviously, a little bit late. My apologies. You could probably tell. Maybe you can tell. I know a couple people are predicting it. Steve here in the comment section says, my boy Gavin was doing the Clipper game. Yes, whenever you see me wearing the button down, you know that I was racing home from Intuit Dome to do this show. But, I was watching it at the arena, was watching it on the way home, and absolutely back here, ready to go with the studio, with the real microphone, with the laptop. Let's do it. Before we jump into this one, like I said, shout out to everybody in here. Leave a like, comment, all that good stuff. Seeing all the familiar faces. Antonius is in here. Mahoko's in here. TFL, Yolando, Dave, Eric, Steve, eBay, Kyrie Irving, Jeff, of course, DW25, all the homies, and everyone else I didn't mention as well. Shout out to all of you. And like Jeff said, I called it last night. I just knew this team was going to win this game, and that's what I'm going to talk about at the beginning of this. It's the turning point.
Time to reveal where the game was won or lost. It's the turning point.
To me, the turning point was nothing particular in this game, and so it's kind of a unique way I'm going to take this one. The turning point is at the beginning of this game. It's just the energy in this team. The fact that the team can turn things around after a couple losses, right? There is a different energy to this Angels team than the Angels team we saw last year, and it isn't even close. Of course, the wins help. Of course, the fact that you've now won 5 games, and there was times where you wouldn't win 5 games in a month, right? There we go. Dust Eater says it. The first pitch turning point. Basically, there's just an energy to this team, a resilience, a ability to bounce back, right? That's what I had my thumbnail as while this game was going on, was it's time to bounce back. And there's something about this team, whether it was in the Cardinals series or in the White Sox series, bouncing back within a game, right? Falling behind, being able to come back, then maybe losing the lead again, being able to come back again. That game that went to 11 innings, right? Going up in the top of the 3rd by 3 runs, blowing the whole 3-run lead, then going up again the 11th. There's a resilience to this team. I don't know if it's young guys just having another year under their belt, another spring training under their belt, more confidence. Maybe it's another year of Ron Washington in their ears. Maybe it's actually having some true veterans next to the young guys, having Trout back, having a guy like Soler, having Rengifo healthy, and thank goodness he was back and healthy, right? But something about this team in the clubhouse, the energy, it's different. It's different, right? And obviously when you have games like yesterday where the bullpen and the starting pitching just isn't able to keep it close, it's hard to be resilient and bounce back in that game alone. But the ability to flip the switch and show up today and look like a completely different team pitching and hitting, it's a great sign. It really is a great sign. The reason I went with the turning point is how the heck do you pick a player of the game in this one, right? A lot of great performances. But we have to do it, right? We have to pick one. So let's go ahead and jump into the player of the game.
This is the Locked On Player of the Game.
It feels real good to say this. It's got to be Logan O'Hoppe today. 3 for 5. Obviously, he has the home run. And it's so crazy how we look at stats at the beginning of the season when you're a few games in and you have one game like this where you go 3 for 5 with 2 RBIs, that home run, and suddenly Logan O'Hoppe's hitting 320 with an 1146 OPS just like that. And how huge it is to see that. Coming into the season, there was a few things I was looking for the most. We knew Neto was going to be out, right? So for me, it was, how does Mike Trout look when he comes back? And not in the sense of, is he immediately hitting 400 to start the season? More so just, does he look like he got a little more lean? Does he look like he's going to stay healthy? How's he doing in right field? So far, he certainly passed those check marks or whatever, those check points. There we go. Finding the right word. I think number 2 was going to be Logan O'Hoppe. Were we going to see the Logan O'Hoppe that was one of, if not the best player on the Angels for most of the first half, really the first 2/3 of last year? Or were we going to see the Logan O'Hoppe that we saw at the end of the year that was clearly burnt out, clearly frustrated with all the losses? We know how competitive this guy is. We know he has a future as a leader of this franchise. And after the first couple of games, when you're seeing those 0 for 4 with 2 strikeout performances, you're getting a little nervous, right? But he's back, clearly. He's hitting a couple of big-time swings. He had the grand slam a couple games ago, hits another home run yesterday, hits another home run today, 2 RBIs, 3 hits. He's hitting 320 all of a sudden. And I like this lineup. I'm not going to lie. I really like the way this lineup looked tonight. Taylor Ward leading off. Clearly, that's what they want to do. That's fine. Rengifo in the 2-hole is great. We will talk about him, certainly. Trout in the 3, love it. Soler cleanup, obviously. O'Hoppe in the 5 makes sense. Shanuel 6, so you get a lefty in there. Paris, Adele, and Anderson. That's great. Then imagine when Neto comes in. I think you probably slide Neto in maybe 6th after O'Hoppe, Shanuel 7th. Then you go Adele or Paris 8th and 9th. Right? I absolutely love this lineup. I think this is what it should be going forward. And I'm not just saying that because a bunch of guys hit home runs tonight. It just makes sense logically because you have the right balance of veterans that are going to have long at-bats in Taylor Ward, in Luis Rengifo. Of course, Trout, you want him to have guys on base when he comes up, like you did today, right? With Ward and Rengifo being some of our better contact hitters. Soler, obviously a cleanup hitter. And then you've got actual guys 6 through 9, which is something we didn't have last year. It felt like last year, after O'Hoppe and Neto's at-bats last season, 6 through 9 was you could have thrown anyone out there no matter what, they're not getting a hit. But you're telling me your 6 through 9 is going to have Zach Neto and Joe Adele and Kyron Paris and Shanuel? Pretty interesting, right? So it's hard not to get excited about the lineup. And once again, when you combine that with the different energy that this team has overall, clearly, it's hard not to be excited. Obviously, a lot of people talking about Trout here, and let's get to Mike Trout. I said it, maybe it was yesterday or one of the other shows. Some people were acting like because Trout started off the season, and obviously the average is still 172, and obviously he keeps just having these games where he hits one home run and then does nothing else offensively. But Mike Trout is perfectly fine. He's clearly, he was doing it at the beginning of last season where he was a power hitter, a home run hitter. And so far this season, that's what he seems to be, despite being a little leaner. But today was home run derby for everyone. And that's the big takeaway. The final takeaway before we take the first break is, just a bunch of home runs. Obviously, Rengifo going deep to start the first inning for the Angels. And how big was that? You could argue that was the turning point in this game because the Angels fall down 1-0 to Carlos Santana. And once again, Angels teams of the past, they would have fallen behind 1-0 and did nothing after that. But after Santana hits the bomb, how do the Angels respond? Well, how about a 1-out home run from Luis Rengifo, an 0-2 pitch, and he got a gift from BB, a hanging changeup, and he crushed it. 105.7, 402 off the bat from Luis Rengifo. Very impressive. Just 2 at-bats later, Mike Trout gets on, and then Soler goes first pitch bomb, 408. So good to see Soler get his first home run as an Angel and throw on that beautiful LA Fire Department hat. Of course, the home runs continued. Bo Naylor went deep, but then it was Mike Trout time. A beautiful, beautiful 2-run home run from him. 1-0 pitch. He gets a cutter down and away. That's not an awful pitch, but boy, did he make it look awful. 429 off the bat, 106.9 exit velo. And obviously the big headline, 3 straight games with the home run for Mike Trout. So after the Angels set the record of giving up 3 home run performances to Ivan Herrera and Jose Ramirez in back-to-back games, how about a different stat related to 3 and home runs? 3 straight games with a home run for Mike Trout. You absolutely love to see it. And that was a part of the massive 7-run 5th inning after Trout's 2-run bomb. It was O'Hoppe with the 2-run bomb. So Jorge Soler getting on, and O'Hoppe having a great at-bat. Takes 3 balls, then has his 2 strikes, and then on 3-2, sinker, high, not a great 3-2 pitch, and he crushed it. He absolutely crushed it. It was great to see that Tim Anderson actually owns a bat. He hit a nice hard line drive to score both Shanuel and Joe Adell. So a 2 RBI double for Tim Anderson, 100 exit velo for him. Love to see it. And then Taylor Ward, the final RBI of this ball game for the Angels, scoring Tim Anderson. It's all a part of that massive, once again, 7-run 5th inning. And from there, it really felt like the game was over. It was very nice to have a game where the Angels could just take a deep breath, not need to figure out, is it going to be Joyce for an inning and then Caden Dana, and you pray, or, throw in, Ryan Johnson not available, right? But you throw in Brock Burke and you're all nervous, right? It was nice to have a game where you have a big lead. Kohanowitz had a good start. We'll talk about that after the break. And you can just pitch a McDaniels and you can pitch an Ian Anderson. And even if they give up a run or two, you're not going to lose the game. Absolutely love it. Absolutely love it to have a stress-free win like this one. Home run derby truly was, because not only did the Angels hit 4 home runs, but obviously the Guardians had 2 home runs as well. So 6 home runs in this one. And now the fireworks were on at the plate for both teams. And now they're on in the Big A after the home opener win, or the first win at home this season. With all that being said, we're going to take our first break here. And when we come back, we'll talk a little bit more about Jack Kohanowitz. Don't let the home runs fool you. He still had a pretty solid start. And once again, we're going to look forward to the next couple of games and what I'm expecting after this big performance. We'll talk about that after our break here on the Locked On Angels Postcast. Now, once again, today's show is brought to you by Supply House. Get the supplies you need from the site made for the skilled trades, Supply House. Whether you're into plumbing, HVAC, or electrical work, Supply House is the reliable way to order products online. Their easy-to-use website is packed with helpful resources and the latest product info to help you get the job done right. Plus, with a complete inventory of over 200,000 parts from 400-plus top brands, you'll find exactly what you need delivered fast from coast to coast. Need help with an order? Supply House offers expert support and industry-leading service, so you'll always talk to a real person. And for trade pros looking for an extra edge, their free TradeMaster program offers exclusive perks like a dedicated phone line, free shipping, and discounts on every order. Thousands of skilled professionals are already taking advantage. Now it's your turn. Join the TradeMaster program today at supplyhouse.com/TM and order plumbing, HVAC, and electrical supplies with just a few clicks. Plus, use promo code SH5 for 5% off your first order. And today's show is also brought to you by the Amazon Fire Stick 4K TV. I was talking about it on the last show. Whether you have the stick, the individual stick that you plug in and turn your dumb TV into a smart TV, or if you get the physical Amazon Fire TV, either way, absolutely fire. Turn any TV into a great streaming device. Good quality if you get the actual Amazon TVs, and make sure you're using code Locked On whenever you make a purchase related to the Amazon Fire TV stick. With all that being said, let's get back to the show. Back here live on the Locked On Angels Postcast. Angels 10. That's right, 10. And the runs keep coming for this Angels team. 10-4 over the Cleveland Guardians. The Angels moved to 5-3, which is a perfectly respectable record after 8 games. And once again, the resilience of this team has to be the big takeaway. Yes, it's the 4 home runs. Yes, it's 3 home runs in 3 games from Mike Trout. Yes, it's Logan O'Hoppe suddenly on fire. Yes, it's Luis Rengifo leaving yesterday's game with a hamstring injury, making us all nervous. And instead, he's suddenly right back and hitting a home run in his first at-bat today. And Jorge Soler also has his first home run as an Angel. But for me, the big takeaway was the resilience. You have this great start. You start 4-1. You have multiple games where you show in-game resilience. But tonight, you come back from back-to-back losses where in neither game did the offense completely lay an egg, right? 5 runs on Wednesday in a loss, 6 runs on Friday in a loss. And what do? You come back with 10 more after falling behind 1-0 in this one. So the resilience of this lineup, very encouraging. Obviously, you use the long ball tonight with the 4 home runs, but this does not have to be a team that relies on the long ball when you've got guys that can have contact at bats, like a Kyron Paris, like a Luis Rengifo, et cetera, et cetera. We have to give some credit to Jack Kowanowitz in this one because it wasn't a perfect start, but it was a good enough start, right? 5 innings pitched. Just gives up 4 hits, 3 walks, though. That's the big concern. Not really what you expect from Jack Kowanowitz. Certainly a guy who you look to get weak contact more than be a strikeout walk type of pitcher. So the 3 walks a little bit concerning, but he's able to manage it, right? To only give up 2 earned runs on 2 solo shots, despite having 3 walks and 4 hits. Pretty solid, pretty impressive, right? And I know I keep using the R word, resilience, today, but that's always the number one thing I want to see from pitchers, especially young pitchers, is how do you respond to adversity, to having guys on base, to having some walks, to giving up some hits, to giving up home runs. How do you respond after that? And so for Kowanowitz to give up that home run in just the 3rd at-bat of the game against Carlos Santana, respond with a scoreless second, then give up 2 more runs in the 3rd, but then still bounce back again. I thought it was pretty impressive to see Jack Kowanowitz do what he did. Obviously, once again, the bullpen didn't have to use any of the big arms, which is a big W because we certainly had to use them in our recent games here. And now we can take a deep breath. Hopefully, your guys get some, your bullpen's a little more fresh going into a decisive game against the Guardians tomorrow. Would love to win every series, right? If you just go into a 3-game series saying, let's win 2 out of 3, of course, if you did that every series, you'd be one of the best teams in baseball, right? So an opportunity to win another series, win your first 3 series of the season for the first time in the existence of the Angels, right? I mean, when's the last time they've done that? So big opportunity on Sunday. It'll be a 1 p.m. first pitch. Tyler Anderson on the mound against a pitcher in Ortiz for the Guardians, who got absolutely scorched in his first start. He's got a 13.5 ERA. So certainly an opportunity. Obviously, this Angels lineup is feeling good. The vibes are feeling good. Back at the Big A. Shout out to the Angel Nation. Sellout crowd yesterday. Huge crowd again tonight. And obviously the team played off of that energy all game long. We already talked about the turning point. We talked about the player of the game. The last thing I do want to talk about is just the state of the roster a little bit. Obviously, Luis Rengifo comes back from the injury. We don't see Moncada in the lineup tonight with his hamstring injury. Obviously, we weren't going to see Zephyr John. No need to rush him back in this one either. So no updates yet on them. The good news is obviously Rengifo's back and better than ever, apparently. And it sounds like no injured list for either Zephyr John or Moncada as well. So good to know that we dodged some injuries there yesterday. Really, once again, the turning point was the first pitch of tonight's game, because yesterday you lose a tough game and you lose 3 guys to injury, and then you come back today and all 3 guys seem like they're going to be okay. One of them hits a home run in his first at bat and you get a big win, right? So big turning point. Could have been a rough little development early in the season after the vibes were high. Instead, the vibes stay high. So shout out to this team. You got to give a lot of credit to Ron Washington. That's what I'll leave this one on, because I know people say I am critical of him. And you have to be critical when you're the manager, when you're the coach of any team in any sport, professionally, college, high level, right? You sign up for criticism, right? And Ron Washington has certainly made plenty of good decisions in his baseball career. He knows more baseball. He's like people love to say, he's forgotten more baseball than I'll ever know, right? But we were all right in questioning his decision to not give Kyron Paris opportunities, in questioning his decision to leave guys like Caden Dana out there instead of Reed Detmers, in leaving Ryan Johnson out there the first game of the season instead of getting him out, right? In pulling guys like Soriano and Kowanowitz earlier in the season, right? But you have to give him some credit today. And it's, once again, maybe it's hindsight is 2020 and you see the balls go over the fence. And if they didn't go over the fence, we'd be critical of him again. But coming into this game, before anything happened, you look at that lineup: Ward, Rengifo, Trout, Soler, Hoppy, Shanuel, Paris, Adele, Anderson. That's kind of a perfect lineup, right? A very ideal lineup, in my opinion, based on everything he had. So obviously he can't control who's on the team, but he can control who plays based on who's on the team and how they're doing. And I thought the lineup was perfect, and he was rewarded with a big offensive performance. But with all that being said, going to quickly scroll the comments one more time. I know some people talked about Kyron Parrish, obviously our man who was absolutely on fire. He does go 0 for 3 tonight, but he still gets on base with a walk. He's never going to have a game where he doesn't get on base at least once. The 2 strikeouts is frustrating, right? We would love him to be a guy who's at least putting the ball in play with all that speed to make it tough on the opposing infielders. But he's fine. He's still hitting 429. He's still the man. Love to see him out there in second base. He's going to get more experience in the infield, which is what we want, so that Ron Washington can have no excuse to not keep him in the lineup until Neto is back. We'll see how long Moncada's out, right? Certainly when he comes back, maybe Kyron Parrish sits back down, but would love to keep this lineup going with the energy and the vibes high, and we will continue to root this team on. I'm laughing because Steve here says Suarez was Mike and John's favorite player, and then we got the Halo Bros in here saying bite your tongue, Steve. I love it. Like someone said, right? Suarez gone, Sandoval gone. You knew the vibes were going to be high after that. But yes, the Angels pick up a 10-4 win in what I'm calling the home run derby dub. 6 combined home runs, 4 from our Angels. Rengifo and Soler are going deep in the first inning after Carlos Santana opened the game with a home run, but it was that big 5th inning for the Angels. 7 runs, started with Trout's 2-run bomb. We had Ohapi's 2-run bomb. We had a 2-run double from Tim Anderson and an RBI single from Taylor Ward. How can you not love a 7-run 5th? How can you not love an easy 10-4 win? And how can you not love the opportunity to have a Sunday matinee game to win your 3rd series in a row to open up 2025? How amazing would that be? And you know I will be back here after the game. There's no Clippers game tomorrow, so I'm not going to be rushing home, wearing a button-down shirt, getting everything going. I'll be here the second the game ends, and I know, because you guys have been bringing it all season long so far, I know you guys will be in here as well. So with all that being said, we're going to wrap this one up. 10-4 Angels win. Angels are 5-3. Angels can be 6-3 tomorrow. And you know what? I called it yesterday. I'm calling it today. We got Tyler Anderson on the mound. They've got Ortiz on the mound. Give me the Angels. We're going to 6-3, and we're going back to first in the AL West. You heard it here first. Take care, everybody. Love it. Nathan says, button it down, Gavin. Yeah, I'm about to get comfortable as well. But shout out to everybody in here. Thanks. Have fun, as Dusty says, and we'll see you back here tomorrow. Go Angels!